Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Good evening, everyone. It's the Ancient One here, the Bachelor Supreme, he who remains, the Phantom Menace, and the master of the deceptive arts. And I'm back again with another self-controlled video. I promise not to laugh this time, at least as long as I can contain myself. Today's video is going to be titled "What Men Don't Bring to Relationships," but the article that we are going to read by Ellen Nguyen. She's an Asian lady, or rather a lady of Asian descent. So her name, Nguyen, I think I'm pronouncing it completely wrong, with the wrong tonality and the wrong, kind of pronunciation all the way around. But her article is entitled "What a Good Man Brings to the Table." Oh, you're gonna love this one. You're gonna love this one. So, but what it'll do is, it'll demonstrate to us the self-centered nature of human beings, and especially the counterpart on the one hand. On the other hand, it'll show you exactly what you ladies are not getting in these relationships and are absolutely not going to get, which Ellen claims that she's getting all these things. She has 17 of them. It sounds like a lot, but it's not really heavy reading. So we should go through it in a fairly concise way. But does she have a list for you? I am having a blast reading these women's lists. I'll probably get tired of it eventually, but it is hilarious, right? So maybe I should entitle this video, what men lose in relationships and in the romance wars. I mean, it's quite a list, and it's quite a diverse list of things that, quite frankly, don't come together in one human being. But apparently, Ellen, she's going to tell us that she has, in fact, received these things. It's a very self-centered list. It's an extremely self-centered list. So as I was reading this thing, I thought, my God, let me at least define the word self-centered, right? So self-centeredness is a personality trait or behavioral characteristic, or behavior characterized by an excessive focus. Listen to that. Excessive focus on one's needs, on one's desires and interests, often to the exclusion or neglect of the needs and feelings of others. And this is exactly what you're going to see demonstrated in this list. Now, she doesn't really say what she gives to the man. And yesterday we went through the list of things that women give in relationships, and they all pretty much amounted to nothing, right? It is a self-centered endeavor, right? And this self-centeredness, this is a sentiment that I personally agree with, and I subscribe to it 100%. You will never meet a person more self-centered than I, right? People think that selfishness, you see, they use the word self-centered and selfishness intermingling, But selfishness is that's not it doesn't mean the same thing as self-centeredness. Selfish means that you want people to participate in your activities. So it is like childish is childlike. So when somebody is selfish, think of it like this. If they are playing football, they want you to play football with them, right? If they are playing chess, they want you to play chess with them. And if they decide to be serious and study, then they want you to be serious and study along with them, right? And if they decide that they want to hustle and make money, they want you to hustle with them. That's selfish, right? That means you want somebody to go along with you. Self-centeredness means you only care about the things that you need, the things that you like, and the things that interest you, and you could care less about what other people are doing, right? I am such a person, right? So my problem is really when the counterpart adopts this attitude of self-centeredness, right? When they do it, it always leads to some kind of either criminality or some type of catastrophe, right? Remember that the counterpart has really no power of accomplishment. And I mean that in the most serious ways. These are people who quite frankly can't even care for themselves, right? So they can't defend themselves, they can't protect themselves, they can't even trust their own judgment. These are people that admittedly have children with the wrong people. They have children with the wrong people all the time, right? This is why there are so many single mothers, because she realized that the person that she had a baby with is not the person that she needs to raise the baby. So she's having kids with people, or with a person, quite frankly, that she knows that she can't make it work with, right? Remember our statistics that 16% of women can financially support themselves in full. And this is a number that has tripled in the last 50 years from 5%, which is practically nothing, all the way up to 16%, which is also practically nothing, right? So this proves that the counterpart cannot sustain their own needs, their own desires, or their own interests. So they will need someone else to fund and sustain and support those proclivities. And usually that means a man, right? That means a man. So think about it in this way, right? Only 16% of them can sustain themselves, or they can only sustain themselves 16% of the time, or they can only sustain themselves 16% of the way. So they can only really provide 16% of what they need, and this is on the maximum. The rest of it has to be provided for by a man. This is why you buy the house, you buy the car, you pay the bills, and all she does is buy dresses and jewelry for her, and shop and handbags, because those things really amount to absolutely nothing for you, right? So the 16% that she's paying, really that means that she's just feeding herself, right? She's not going to be able to maintain a household. And I think a lot of men really miss this point, right? This is not a statistic that is spread very often, right? What men are hearing is the don't need no man, I make my own money, whatever those tropes are. And in truth, none of that is true. None of that is true. You go all over the world, there's not a single woman paying anything for herself. And when they do, usually they get that money from a man. This is known. This is known. It's becoming clearer and clearer that to a great extent there is a man paying things in the life of a woman. So if she's traveling, a man is funding some of that, or there will be a man somehow involved, right? This means your wife, your girlfriend, your daughter, your niece, your grandmother, you know, all these women, they really can't sustain themselves. And again, if they do, it'll be like 16% of the time. So if there's a point in time where your mother seems like she's paying the bills, just know that was like 16% of your life. The rest of it was paid for by a man, right? So so she's not going to get another counterpart to suffer along with her, right? She's going to get a man, right? So you know, they say that same member relations with the counterpart, you know what I'm talking about, that those relations have the highest levels of divorce, because when the two of them come together, they max out at 32% of what they need, and the rest is debt. So just think about that. Two of them, right? If two of them are at their peak level, they'll max out at 32%, right? So if she gets another counterpart, unless that counterpart is extraordinarily rich somehow, of which I cannot see, she's not going to get somebody else to suffer along with her. She's going to get a man to provide that relief. Because in truth, and I don't have these numbers out, but I'm going to look this up. I do know that as a single man, my costs are all the way to a minimum. So I alluded to in a previous video that I save about 90% of the money that is savable in my life just by being single. So whatever I make in terms of income, whatever I have to spend, so this will be things like rent, car, water, electric, those things are things that I'm going to have to spend anyway. And everybody does too. So over and above those things, whatever is savable from my profits, I save 90% of it easily, right? So I can understand, based on my own situation, how a counterpart could see a fruitfulness by just siding with a bachelor, right? So I'm not saying that I make millions a year or billions a year. I'm saying that from what I make, I save 90% of what is possible to be saved, right? And I'm saving every month, easily every month, right? And if a counterpart was to enter my life, they would find me with tremendous saving and spending power. And for that reason, I really would have no interest in getting involved with a counterpart, because, she doesn't have any money, right? So if she's over there with you, right, and you are the best that she can do, right? If she's over there with you right now, just remember that you are the best that this counterpart can do, right? Because if she's going to get a man to relieve her from her financial problems, and no matter what she says, don't believe a single word that these people say. If she could be with a better man on a full-time basis, a richer man, she would be, right? She's with you because in earnest, you're the best that she can do, right? These are not merciful people who will forego being with a rich, powerful man. Like if you are not doing it successfully, if you're not doing it financially, I beg your pardon, and you're not being successful, and a person who is offers to take your place in her life, there's very little chance that she won't take up that opportunity. So if she's with you, you absolutely the best she can do. And if she could be with a richer, better, and more prominent man right now, in a better home under better circumstances, she would be, right? That's why I recommend that you never fear leaving a woman, right? Because if she could be with the best option right now, she would be. And if you leave her, that means her best option, which is you, is now gone, right? So don't be fooled and misled by her notion of options. Yes, I'm sure she has options, but then why is she there with you? If those options are so much better, then why is she there with you, right? And in truth, there are no real options on earth. This is Earth. Just remember where you are. You are on planet Earth, and you're not going anywhere. You're not leaving this. The only other option she has is another man. And we already have the statistics on the circumstances surrounding most men. And as I said before, if he has time to be with her all day long, every day on this earth, especially during the crucial business hours of 10 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 10 in the morning to 3 o'clock, I'd say 9 till 3 o'clock, Monday to Friday, that means he's broke and unemployed or younger than 25. That means he's a young man, probably a student or something, right? Or if he's not a student, then he's somebody who's not making it. And I'm telling you, your 20s are tough. Your 20s are tough. So you're not a person who's not a student, right? In which case you're broke. Or you just started like working in your company, in which case you're broke. Or you just started a company, in which case you're broke. You can't tell me you just started a business, you've been operating for a month and you're killing it. Give me a break. Give me a break, right? Those are fairy tales for young people who actually haven't started and succeeded in business. Most businesses fail in the first year. Like 97% of them fail within the first year. They don't even get off the ground. You can't even raise the capital to start a business and then employ people and then sustain those people's contracts. Like you sign a 3-year contract with someone, but your company goes bust in less than a year. So you're not going to tell me you're going to do that at 25. You're going to need to be absolutely brilliant. And every generation, you only get one of those. And that's not you. So also understand that if he's older than 25 and he is employed, you know, then he's at work all day, right? He's at work all day, and if he has money, then he's definitely at work all day, right? If he's under 25, he's unemployed, he's a broke loser. But he's over 25 and has money, that means he has work all day, or children, or a girlfriend, or a wife, or he's been divorced, or has many other major commitments and responsibilities. So you're not finding somebody who can sit around all day and stroke your hair and talk about your eyes, right? This is really the delusion that a lot of women are struggling with. You're trying to find somebody who's got rich and who's got time for stupid things. And this is really getting to be a frustration for men because now you're given two very clearly different options and you don't want to make a decision, so you choose both. And that's absurd. Do you want to be rich or do you want to be loved? You got to make a decision. You really got to make a decision because there comes a point in time in a man's life when he has to make a decision. And that decision is ultimately, do you want to be a father? That's really the big decision that men make. And if you don't make that decision as a man, it's going to be made for you. But women really need to come right with this because a lot of times you're going to cheat on a man just to become homeless. And you have to understand if someone is successful, carrying you on his back, paying all these bills, he can do the same thing with you off his back. In fact, he'll be much faster at it. because people who work hard are going to keep working hard whether they have a wife and kids or not. This is why divorced men are really, really rich because they're older, they got experience, they've been doing this for a long time, and suddenly they're not carrying a loser on their back. So they become successful, right? And if if he can do that without you, he'll do it so much faster, right? But this is what they call options, right? So even if you're dating like a superstar or something, these people have jobs, man. These people have responsibilities. They don't sit around taking pictures all day. You know, maybe they do, but that's really work. It this is earth. Everybody has to work. Everybody has to work. And somehow the counterpart thinks that they can make it through this life and put in no effort. And this is a frustration for them. It's a frustration because they don't know what they're doing and they have no power for accomplishment. Right? So when you look at these two dynamics, you have the poor guy with time but no money and he's young. Obviously, he's under 25. Then you have the guy with money and responsibilities and children. And if there's children, that means there's always a woman and major commitments. And he'll have money, but he'll be older. And there's very little in the middle, right? Even less by the way of just options that are lingering around, you know? So if she's talking about a millionaire, if she's saying, well, I'm dating a millionaire, that means she's dating a senior citizen. This is 100% fact. If she says, oh, I know a guy that's got a lot of money, that's code for much older men, right? Because the average age of millionaires in this world, on this earth, is 50 to 55 years old. In fact, it's 53 and older, right? Millionaires. So people with $1 million worth of assets, $1 million worth of real estate, $1 million in cash, $1 million in something, because they've had a lifetime to accrue all of that stuff, excuse me. They've had a lifetime to accrue all those things. And then they've got the skills, and then they've got the experience, and then they've got the connections to make a lot of money very quickly. And many of these people are actually running the companies and the industries that you're working in. So if you look at the management at work and in most companies, even if they'll tell you, oh, somebody started in management in his 20s, you look at them now, he's in his 50s, he's been doing that for 25 years. So, these are the people in the company that are running things. It's always the older men. It's always the older men. And they are the ones making the most amount of money. And in truth, you don't actually know how much they make. And you'll be shocked when you find out that guy who wears that same shirt and those same trousers every day. That's his costume, by the way. That's there to mislead you, right? He's always dressed in the same way, in the same style. He's been dressing like that for years, right? So you don't know how much money he's actually got. So if she's telling you she's dating a millionaire, that means she's dating an older man, right? And all these people have kids, guaranteed. All these people, there's a woman there. So there's a wife or there's an ex-wife or a girlfriend. This is guaranteed. So these are really the options that women have. These are real. These are the real options. And these people have responsibilities and their money has to go somewhere. So she's not getting all of that. This is why women will say, oh, I've got a celebrity in my DMs, but she's never with that celebrity because that person has family. This is true. That person has real family and she's not part of that. Yeah, sure, you have access, but, if he's not with you, he's definitely with somebody else because he's not sitting at home singing hymns by himself, meditating. He's definitely with somebody else. Absolutely. People are always with someone. Even the ancient one is never always alone, right? I have people, it frustrates me sometimes, but you have people. Even the Bachelor Supreme, he who remains, right? Bachelor for life, no wife, no kids, all savings. Even I have people in my life. So if somebody is rich and famous and successful and you're not with them, oh, he's definitely with somebody else. He's absolutely with somebody else. You can guarantee that he's not sitting there alone. And if you call him, he'll tell you, oh, I'm with my friends, I'm with this, but he won't tell you about the women. But you think he's there with his friends and his friends came by themselves. They didn't bring no dates, they didn't bring any women. They didn't bring nothing. The friends don't have women on the phone that they can call, that they can Uber in. Be serious, man. Be serious. Especially if he's an older man. This is an absolute guarantee. If there's kids, if he says, oh, I'm with my kids, that means he's with a woman, he's with the mother of the kids. It's what they don't say that you should be cautious about. And and this is ultimately why women don't mind sharing a successful man, because there aren't many of them to go around. In fact, there aren't any to go around. And in all honesty, those that are already have commitments. So if you're talking about a millionaire, you're talking about a guy who's lived 5 decades. He's got 5 decades worth of experience. Of course, he's got kids, and his kids are probably adult, right? And so today's article is going to demonstrate, indeed why men need to be more self-centered, and why women, or how the counterpart is absolutely self-centered, right? It's going to demonstrate what you lose, what you sacrifice in the romance wars, and in these relationships. And it's going to demonstrate, how exhausting all this is going to be for you, and how truly self centered the counterpart is, and how insatiable her unending appetite really is. These people have an appetite just for the sake of appetite. And their appetite extends beyond just the physical and the financial. It's also mental and even metaphysical. They start to manifest things that don't exist. They live in a fairy tale imaginary world, and they're going to pull you into it and force you to participate in their madness. You know, None of these things that you're going to see in this article are actually real, you know. Nor do the tiresome actions and activities have an end or an even actual purpose. And this is what this article is going to demonstrate. It's going to demonstrate that there is no point. There is no point to any of these activities, right? You act just to act with these people, and you do just because something can be done. So you'll do something that has no direction and no purpose, right? And this is really what this article is going to demonstrate, right? It's going to demonstrate really foolishness, right? In a way that can be incomparable to you, right? And the desire for that foolishness is truly never ending. And men lose so much trying to engage and participate in this. This is why before you go in, you got to have that vasectomy, so that you can have those limits and those boundaries instilled in you for the moments when, quite frankly, you cannot have boundaries for yourself, right? You cannot always be guaranteed to be disciplined. And I say this all the time, you're not smarter than your biology. There are moments where your body is going to take over, and you're going to let it. And it's going to do what it does naturally. This is automatic. And in those cases, you're going to ruin your life. And you're going to sit there wondering, well, what was I thinking? You weren't thinking. And that's the whole point. You weren't thinking. You're not smarter than your biology, right? You're not going to overcome that biology. So get a vasectomy, and let's get started with the article. What a Good Man Brings to the Table by Ellen Nguyen. So you see her name is spelled Nguyen, so I apologize if I'm reading it wrong. It was published on the 2nd of August 2021, and it comes from the website lovefulmind.com. She begins, one of my biggest strengths must be optimism. She starts strong. Like everyone else, my dating life was a roller coaster. Let's be frank, it was a expletive, right? So I won't be saying bad words on my channel. I don't want to get kicked off. And if I have to be honest, I've heard people say the foulest things on this platform and get away with it. I know if I do, I'll be banned in an instant. I absolutely know that. So I'm gonna try keep those expletives under control. But somehow she continues, I never really felt bitter about men and relationships. So after her roller coaster, she still was seeking love. Perhaps she realized that she can only pay 16% of herself. When I turned my life around with the help of therapy, so she's mentally ill, I wrote down a list of things that I looked for in a partner. It was a long and detailed list, including qualities that weren't common in the men I'd met. So she makes it very clear that the things she's looking for don't exist in any man. She says in the men she'd met, but in truth, they don't exist in any man. And even in the man that she's with, to whom, by the way, we did not get a picture or a bank statement, these things don't exist. He's just playing a part, he's just performing, and it must be exhausting, right? But I had an unwavering belief that good men were compatible with me. Good men who were compatible with me were out there. So now we have left reality and we are now in the mental, metaphysical world. We are manifesting a good man. Unwavering belief, she said, right? Just like that, miracle. Shortly afterwards, miracle. I met my soon to be husband, who is everything I could have asked for in a partner. It's a miracle. He added so much value in my life. Again, we have not seen his picture or his bank statement. Thus, I want to write this post to celebrate him and remind you that having a good partner is an absolute blessing. By the way, it's his birthday coming up soon. So she's not buying him anything. He's getting this letter or this article on his behalf. Let's continue. Here are 17 things and counting, so there's much more. I told you she was very detailed. 17 things a good man can bring to the table. Number one, abundant love, care, and comfort. So, number one includes three things, right? So, it's not just one, we're up to three already, right? Abundant love, you're not getting that, ladies. You're not getting abundant love. If man can give you abundant love, that probably means he's unemployed, right? If he can spend all day caring for you, he's probably unemployed. Comfort, I think that's what the house and car are for. When we were dating, I never had to doubt my partner's interest in me. That's usually what dating is for, right? To show interest into each other and to show that you are, in fact, interesting. Now he's always there, showing his love and care in every way possible. He sounds like a slave. In our daily life, he makes sure I'm comfortable and safe as he keeps an eye on everything around me. That's why I'm worries free around him. This sounds unbelievable. So, all day long, he spends his time just making sure the things around you are okay. You can't look after yourself. You can't look after yourself. An empathetic listener. Oh, that means she loves to talk. You know, these people love to talk. I know I come here on the platform and I have to talk for a certain period of time and fill up the air so that there's no like dead space. But I actually try to come and have a point to this discussion, which is get a vasectomy. But they just talk for the sake of talking, you know, and then you have to force yourself to understand the things that they're saying and they don't understand themselves. And then she'll tell you that you don't understand. When in fact it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And you pay money to go through this. So ladies, you're not getting an empathetic listener. Absolutely not. Let's see how he makes me feel heard and understood. He hears you, but he doesn't understand. And he always has something intelligent and thoughtful to add to the conversation. So she's not adding anything intelligent and thoughtful. It's up to him to make sense of her gibberish. He responds enthusiastically to everything I tell him, including silly nonsense throughout the day. That's him saying, "Oh, that's good, honey." That's not enthusiastic. That's a complete disapproval. That's because if he knows, he's like, "What are you talking about, woman?" So he just says, "Oh, good." And you feel like, your silly little nonsense has a point. It doesn't. Think about it like this: your own father can't stand your silly little nonsense. What makes you think this man who was a stranger to you up until 6 months ago, what makes you think he wants to sit there and listen to your silly little nonsense throughout the day? Number three, oh, guys, now you have to be the loudest cheerleader. So you can't just support her, you have to be seen to be supporting her the most. I hate these things. These are the things that make me hesitant and reluctant to go into relationships, because now you have to support her. She wants to be a painter, you got to support her. Or now she wants to be a nails enthusiast, now you got to support that. And none of those things go anywhere. The only thing that happens is she piles up a ton of crap. I apologize, I shouldn't have said that. She piles up a ton of products that she does never utilize, and you can't sell it. And ultimately, in truth, after she bought it and realized its uselessness, she wanted to throw it away. But since you spent money on it, if you see her throwing away these things that she doesn't like or you need, that means next time you're not actually going to buy the things for her that she actually likes and needs, because you're going to think she's just going to throw it away, which you probably will. But ultimately, if you buy something for a counterpart and you come back a few weeks later, you'll find out that thing is gone. She'll probably just tell you it finished. In fact, it didn't finish. She realized that she can't do nails because she's not trained and she's incompetent. And she just threw it away and gave up. But don't worry, in a little time, she'll have something for you to cheerlead about. Let's read her words. "I know for sure that my partner is proud of me and thinks I'm the smartest because he tells me that all the time." Oh. Now she thinks she's the smartest. Lady, if you were the smartest, you'd be a billionaire. You'd be killing it. You'd be killing it. You're not the smartest. You weren't the smartest in your class. You're not the smartest in your school. You're not the smartest at work. You haven't been the smartest person anywhere ever in your life. Everything you know was given to you by somebody else, and that person wasn't the smartest either. So just think about that. A person who wasn't the smartest educated you, and now you're the smartest. And you believe that because this man who came into your life after the roller coaster, because he's not very smart either, he tells you that you're smart and you believe these people, right? You believe these people. That's why I tell you, you're not smarter than your biology. You're not smarter than your biology. That's why you got to see yourself as a person who's not intelligent and get a vasectomy. Do one smart thing in your whole life. Get a vasectomy. Protect yourself, and then go and live a life full of blunders and mistakes. He talks, in other words, brags about me to everyone in his life. While you're bragging about her, telling people how wonderful she is, she's complaining, telling people how terrible you are. And ultimately, they're going to say, well, he's so lucky to have you, you deserve better. Because all he does is say that you're the smartest, right? And all you do is say that you deserve better. And you end up believing your own nonsense. You end up really believing your own nonsense. Like, you end up really believing you're going to marry a celebrity. You know, I mean, these people will spend their whole lives. They'll wait till their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, just waiting for a celebrity, just waiting for a celebrity, of which I don't get, of which I really don't get. If you wanted to be famous, lady, you could just pay a few $100 and they'll put you on TV. It's really that simple. You don't have to wait your whole life to be with a celebrity. You can just go be one yourself if you really wanted to. So next that Ellen says she gets from her man, which is a complete lie, is fulfilling deep talks. Now, remember in the previous page, she says that her man responds enthusiastically to everything she tells him, including silly nonsense that she talks. She says she talked silly nonsense, and now in the next breath, she wants deep fulfilling talks. This is on that bipolar spectrum. Remember, she did mention that she goes to therapy, which tells you that she's not mentally sound. Our conversations can easily go from fun chit chats to serious discussions, right? So she's going from one extreme mood to the other, and you won't be able to see when the change in mood happens. All you'll know is 10 seconds ago she was laughing at a joke, you cracked another joke, and now she's being insulted. And you won't know when that switch happens because she went from laughing to now crying tears, right? Because she's not sound. He stimulates me intellectually and makes me feel full emotionally. That's a contradiction. You can't be stimulated intellectually and then be full emotionally. Those two things don't really exist on the same plane, but apparently they can do. That's like being emotional and intelligent. You can't have both. Teamwork is the next one. So what does that mean? That means you have to do all of her work for her because she can't do it for herself. Both of us are not a fan of housework. No, she is lazy. So we do them together. So now you're doing her tasks over and above all of yours when we are able. So she waits for you to come home and then makes you do the task. Every task is easier and faster when done by two. This is not true. This is absolutely not true, right? It takes longer. I find that it takes much longer to work with somebody else and to work in a group. You only really want to work in a group when you have no choice, right? Similarly, every burden is lighter when shouldered by two. There's a reason why most people start companies by themselves and only hire people later on when the company starts working. Because going into business with your friend and that kind of thing, that's a terrible mistake. Teamwork means that you do what she has to do. So she says every burden is lighter when shouldered by two. She has no power for accomplishment. She can't do anything. Financial and emotional security, money. Two incomes are better than one. Remember, she's only paying 16% or has the capacity to pay about 16% or pay 16% of the time. So that means you are now replacing her father, right? What her father used to do, you now have to do. And she will, I don't know what she'll contribute, right? Dresses for herself. And without him, frankly, I'd have really struggled through the pandemic in many ways. No, you would have struggled in life, right? So they'll say, oh, I struggled in a certain period of time, and then my man came, and that period now ended the suffering, right? So she'll think she was poor in that situation when in fact you are poor in every situation. You just have somebody paying your bills. And the minute he stops, you're back to being in extreme poverty again. Physical pleasure of which you are not getting. He's incredibly loving, giving, and affectionate, and our intimacy runs through my body. That is possibly the shortest statement in this entire thing. Physical pleasure, it's good. Let's move on. What? Really? Because this is what the man goes into the relationship for. He's not going in there for teamwork and fulfilling deep talks and to be your loudest cheerleader and to provide empathetic listening. He's not doing that. He's in there because he wants an intimate partner and you barely discuss the intimacy. You know what that tells you? It's not happening. And if it is happening, it's happening minimally. Just enough to keep him in the relationship. Because other than that, it's back to you know who, right? She knows exactly where she's gonna go, right? And we all know where that is. So physical pleasure, man, that's very disappointing. It's very disappointing the way she covered that. She just ran right over it. Hot dates. Now she doubles her statements, triples them. He's well dressed, and when we're together, and he's well dressed when we're out together. I always feel very beautiful next to him as he compliments me all the time. So all he does is give her attention and validation, of which ultimately she's just gonna throw it back in your face. Sometimes we forget that the world exists around us. She's lying. She knows that when she steps out looking good, other men are checking her out too, right? It's really about safe advertising. It's like when a company knows a movie's gonna do well, and they put in extra money for the advertising because they can do that, right? In a successful movie, and even if they don't spend all the money, the full budget on advertising, they can pocket the rest, right? So she can go out looking good, and you're paying for that. And in fact, she knows that there's other men looking. So if there is the potential that there's a better man or a man who can provide her what she called fulfilling deep talks and who's an empathetic listener, well, anything can happen, right? But these relationships, they put you in a very defensive position where you're really trying to protect someone who is, you know, trying to get the attention of other people while being under your protection. It's a really unfair situation that men put themselves in. And you're going to be in this situation if you aren't already. So we are already at number nine. And number nine is daily appreciation. So, I mean, this whole list, just listen to this. This is all about you feeding her ego. Abundant love, care, comfort, empathetic listener, loud cheerleader, hot dates. This is all just about her feeling good. So the big takeaway, I think, and she kind of repeats a few things. She's a little bit repetitive. So instead of using what the word means, she'll use like synonyms. Like daily appreciation can go right along there with loudest cheerleader, as well as deep fulfilling talks, because those talks are about her, right? These are not talks about you. So she, it's all about her. It's all me, me, me. He says thank you and love you throughout the day for little things that I do. By the way, she's only doing little things. She's not doing anything major, right? 16%. This is their contribution. 16%, right? Or sometimes he surprises me with beautiful flowers I love. So it's all about her, right? What you'll see is she's not going to provide any value to him, right? And in truth, she's not getting none of this. And if she did, it's for a very short time. This is going to stop very quickly because he's going to get tired of you saying silly things. And ultimately, the flowers aren't going to keep coming. And the thank you and the love you might continue, but as the years go, it's going to get more and more sarcastic and more drawn out. Number 10, new knowledge and experiences. This one really frustrates me. I think people are really struggling with just existence. Like, what? There's nothing new. There's nothing new. All knowledge is history. There's no knowledge coming to us from the future that we don't know. There are no premonitions. Everything we know about life comes to us from the past, studies done in the past. The studies that are being conducted now, that's incomplete. Incomplete. And once it's complete, we will see it as new. But then that will fall into the category of the past also. So there's no new knowledge. People are always looking for new knowledge. Yes, I know you learn things that you didn't know all the time. It's a magnificent world. But she's looking for new experiences. What new experiences? You know, the shopping mall is a shopping mall everywhere in the world, as is a restaurant. You've been to one beach, I swear to you, you've been to them all. The only thing that's really different in the world is people. And there's billions of them, right? And they're kind of different in very minimal ways. So maybe you like one kind of music and I like another kind of music, but we all kind of like music. And everybody likes movies. There's no new experiences, man. There's really no new experiences. You only get one new experience in life, or you get to experience something new once in life. The next time you do it, it's not new anymore. I remember going on a hike together. Does that sound like a new experience? And he had answers to almost all questions I asked about random things we saw on the way. I was in awe. So you didn't know about plants and rocks and trees. And he had to explain the rocks, the plants, and the trees. That's what happens when you go on a hike. Unless you're hiking on the side of the road, right? And she was in awe. He's knowledgeable, well traveled, and always ready to go on an adventure with me. So he's spending money in reckless ways and at the worst possible time. I've learned a ton from his communication, practice, and kindness. That doesn't sound like education. Patience and kindness, maybe, I don't know. Are those transferable skills? Perhaps. Number 11, a much lighter backpack. When we're out together, he always has his backpack ready with all the stuff I don't even know I need. I bet you she criticizes that backpack all the time. I bet you she says, "Why are you always carrying that bag? You're a man." You know, there is an idea that men don't have things to carry. And this idea comes from a time when men didn't have things to carry. They had a wallet and, I'm not going to say what they had, but cigarettes. I'll just say it. It was a wallet and cigarettes. That's all you could carry, and some keys. You had way more pockets than what you needed. They didn't have no smartphones. They didn't have iPads and tablets. I, for one, and I'm a person who carries a notebook everywhere I go, because if I like think of a concept that I want to discuss or something, I want to write it down. If there's something that I want to know, I want to write it down. And I write down everything in every meeting that I've ever been to. I have words and quotations from everybody that I work with. Every time we're together in a meeting, I write down every single word. I'm going to need a bag. I'm going to need a big bag. And it frustrates me that like women know this. And it's not just the book that you carry. You know, you might want to carry a bottle of water, right? You might want to carry, I don't know what people carry. Sunscreen. You might want to carry some sunscreen. You might want to keep a hat. I know I always need to keep a hat, a sun hat. And I actually, when I'm outside, I'm always wearing a sun hat, right? But I need to put that hat somewhere. And if you carry a bag, somehow that's become a feminine trait, which I just don't understand. Where am I supposed to put all this stuff? Where am I supposed to put all this stuff? I mean, your grandfather had a briefcase to carry all his things to work in, all his stationery, all his tools, his lunch, um, extra item of clothing if he needed one, gloves if it was the winter, or a scarf. He had all that. And for some reason, now you're not allowed to carry things in a bag. You gotta throw everything in the back of your car like a Neanderthal. I could never understand that. I could never understand that. But here she is talking about this man's backpack. And I swear to God, I'm absolutely sure she's one of those ignorant modern women who don't know how to carry heavy loads, who criticizes bags. Now, I'm not saying you should carry a feminine bag. If you do, that's your own thing. Ultimately, you should just carry a backpack and throw everything in there. Because in truth, you're not going to know what you need, especially if you're carrying a laptop. Have you ever seen somebody carry a laptop? It's the most ridiculous thing. Put that thing in a bag, man. You're going to break your laptop. You can't carry a laptop like it's a phone. You're ridiculous, man. Get a bag. Grow up. Seriously. This is the world we live in now. Ignorance is just everywhere. Let's continue about this man's backpack. I never have to carry or lift anything I don't want to. In other words, she doesn't want to carry anything. He's also handy around the house, so he does all the housework as well as, he does all the house repairs, all the house maintenance, all the house care, all the yard work, the roofing, the gutters, you know, and still helps her with all of her housework. Number 12 is the bodyguard. He stands between me and any signs of aggression, drunk men, the wind, mud, and many other things. This is absurd. Number 12 has to be right at the top of the list of why I'm not really into all these relationships. I'm not really into all that. I don't need to be fighting with drunk men. This is the issue right there. Right there. You'll be, and this has happened to me all the time. You'll be out with your girlfriend or your counterpart, and then suddenly there is a strange man in front of you, in your space, in your atmosphere, who is inebriated, intoxicated, under the influence of some substance. You don't know him, you don't trust him. And you are now forced to interact with this person because your counterpart is up to something, right? We are supposed to be out together, you and I. And if we were together, I'm telling you, it hardly never happens. At least to me, when if I'm with a counterpart and another man comes and engages the counterpart while I'm in the discussion, while I'm walking with my counterpart, while we are doing something, it never happens. It never happens. It's always the counterpart interacting with another man. It's never, I promise you, yes, there are men who have that type of audacity. But in a situation like if a husband and wife are walking together down the street or in a shopping mall, a man's not going to go approach the wife in front of the husband, right? Two women he may approach, but not a man and a woman. Like, seriously speaking, he'll tell you, this is my wife. And what are you going to say? Nah, can I have a minute to talk? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Right? Men know that this means violence and aggression. He would only approach a space of another man if somebody had told him with certainty that it's safe, it's okay, you can come and say hi. And most men will be reluctant. They'll say, nah, I don't know about that. Because he knows. He knows. One mistake, he'll turn around. One mistake, and somebody will do something to him behind his back that he's not even prepared for. It happens all the time. And if you're the kind of guy who a counterpart wants to introduce you to a man that you don't know, just remember that man might be armed. And he's had it with her, right? So if he's drunk and you're drunk and he's armed and annoyed, aggression, drunk men, the wind, the mud, and many other things. That's what you can expect if you want to be a bodyguard for a counterpart. Absolutely not. This is something that I really, really, really stand against. You cannot be letting a counterpart put you in direct confrontation with another man and then smile about it. This is a very serious thing. Men don't cross other men's boundaries. And if you do, it's violence. And if you don't expect any, if you cross, listen, if you say you didn't know, I'm telling you right now, if you cross another man's boundaries, and you know this from your own childhood, from your own schools, and you know from your own history, right? High school, college, university, whatever. You know from your own history that when you crossed another person's boundaries, it ended up in violence, especially between boys. Especially between boys. I mean, you've been in fights for looking at someone the wrong way. You've been in fights for saying the wrong thing. You've been in fights for touching the wrong thing. So you already know this instinctively. And if you say you don't know, then I'm telling you right now, if you cross another man's boundaries, you can expect serious violence. And so and you can't then say, oh, it's wrong. Why is he responding violently? It doesn't matter why. What is important is you know he will respond violently. His reasons are inconsequential. Compared to the damage he's going to do to you, knowing his reasons is not going to make you feel better. And if you walk into ignorance trying to play human rights, if you go there and you say it's her human right to talk to whoever you want, to whoever she wants, it's your human right to have discourse with whoever you want, you're going to get yourself killed. And while you're gone, the human rights will remain. So you have to choose between knowing, and I am not telling you a if or a maybe. I'm telling you there are men who are already waiting with an inclination for violence. And all they are looking for is an opportunity for somebody who thinks that his human rights are going to protect him from a beating. And I'm here to tell you, human rights have never protected a single soul from anything. The human rights come after the beating, right? The justice comes after the beating. The truth and reconciliation comes after the war, not before. So you're going to have to go through it and then see what your human rights are at the end. And I'm not sure those human rights are worth it. I'm not sure that, standing up for a woman's right to be able to talk to a man, to be able to talk to you, is worth taking whatever that man is about to give. Because you know men can do damage, right? And if he has friends, forget about it. Forget about it. Number 13, the best hugging pillow. Okay, so now you're a hugging pillow. Cuddling with him can ward off any stress. Does hugging really decrease stress? I don't know. Maybe it does. Being in his embrace melts me inside out. So you're now a hugging pillow. By the way, this short statement is still longer than the statement she made about physical pleasure. That statement was only one sentence, and here we have very clearly two distinct sentences. So, being a hugging pillow is more important than physical pleasure. She gives it more prominence than physical pleasure. Now you're a hugging pillow? She wants a man to be a hugging pillow. This is very emasculating. This is very emasculating. I used to be a hugging pillow. I have to admit to my own shame. And and this was before I ascended to my vasectomite position. And it's terrible thinking back, reading these articles, and thinking that somebody thought of me as a hugging pillow. And I allowed that. And I allowed it. These are the things that really get to me, right? It's not the suspicion and paranoia of being cheated on. I still have that, right? And I'm like habitually single, right? I'm literally running in and out of doors, but it's those little things, you know, putting a little, I don't know, marshmallow in her hot chocolate or some ridiculous nonsense like that. You've done that kind of stuff, man. It's her birthdays and you bought her some rubbish, some fluffy toy. Like, why do we do these things? Right? Because you need to be liked by them. You really need that. And if you don't, it's an absolute catastrophe. It's an absolute catastrophe. Let's move on, my hugging pillow friends. The next thing that Ellen seems to desire, well, she claims she's getting all these things, by the way. She claims she's getting all these from a man. I am going to assume that your man is a terrible bodyguard. So, how's he a bodyguard and a hugging pillow at the same time? Oh, this is terrible. But the next thing she says she claims to get is too much laughter. Oh, here we are with the jokes again. I I have had it with the jokes. You know what? Let me just read it and move on. I had an entire diatribe with jokes yesterday. Everywhere we go, they're trying to make you a comedian. You're a bodyguard, you're a hugging pillow, you're a cheerleader, and now you're a clown. This is absurd, man. Now she wants not just enough laughter, she wants too much laughter. And then she wants you to have deep intellectual conversations. On the one hand, then she wants to say silly little things throughout the day. This is bipolar, man. These people are not mentally sound. She mentioned that right at the beginning, and I'm not moving past that. She's mentally sound. He makes me laugh till I cry so many times. Oh, just listen to that. Just all day jokes, jokes. Now I'm a clown. I literally have laughed every day since we met. It's visibly good for my health. She's lying. She's lying. Every day we're just cracking laughs. Either that or these people haven't known each other long enough to start to be annoying. I've only just met Ellen and I'm already annoyed with her. So I don't know how much longer this guy can do this for. Not much longer, I'm sure. Number 15, more energy to do things I love. Since he provides me with unlimited love, care, comfort, and it helps remove unnecessary stress from my life, I'm left with so much energy and inspiration to do the things I love. So now you're doing all of her work and now she can go and have an affair. This is what that means. I mean, like, what is she doing? Running for president? Building a company? Absolutely no. Right? So you've provided her with unlimited love, care, comfort, and helped remove unnecessary stress from her life. So you've paid for the house, you've paid for the car, and you've paid off her debts. And now that she doesn't have all those stresses anymore, she can go out there and find another man to love. Somebody who has time. Because you're busy paying off all these debts, she needs somebody with time. In fact, that's why I've been able to be quite active on Medium. I don't know what Medium is. Social Medium? I don't know. I don't trust nothing about number 15. I don't trust nothing about number 15. This is all coded language. Since he provides me with unlimited love, care, comfort, house, car, money, and helps remove unnecessary stress, debt. I'm left with so much energy and inspiration to do the things I love. Affair. What are the things that she loves? She doesn't like work. She doesn't like housework. She doesn't read. Maybe she reads, maybe she writes, right? She's got an article here, which really isn't much of an article. It's just a list of things that she wants, which quite frankly, every woman has, right? And they put those lists up there as if it is just a rite of passage. Like, this is what I want, you know, love, care, comfort, and remove all my stress. No. No, 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 no. Let her die with her stress, man. Let her die with that stress. Number 16, a lifelong companion. He's my best friend. Oh, me, this woman, right? So now you're a lifelong companion. This lifelong companion and best friend has just as much prominence as physical pleasure. Really, just as much prominence. Like it's one sentence. Oh, we're best friends. That's it. Oh, I beg your pardon. Bestest friends. Number 17. A home, a family, and a future. I told you. Car, house, debts paid for. That's exactly what she meant. When I felt sad about the fact that I was away from Vietnam, so she's Vietnamese of Asian descent. For so long, I didn't have a home anyway. He reminded me that we were building our home and family together. I was deeply touched. So he's buying her a house, right? He's buying her a house. After they get married, we're going to buy a house. If they get married. But I think they're going to pull it off. I mean, she's already written articles about it. And you know what they say in Asia, you don't marry the girl, you marry her family. I hope he's ready for that. He doesn't sound like an Asian gentleman. And she says at the bottom, since the day he asked me to marry him, so he proposed, he did this to himself. 99% of marriages are initiated by men. 99% of these relationships are initiated by men. You're the one who said you're going to come there and be her lifelong companion, and the two of you are going to have too much laughter. And you'll end up giving her the energy she needs to do the things she loves. You're the one who said that. So when it all falls apart, I just want you to know that you're the one who asked her to marry you. Our future has become clear, and I've got no doubt that it'll be fun, it'll be a fun, meaningful ride ahead. No, it won't. It will not be a fun or meaningful ride ahead. It's going to be a tragedy, and you won't be getting any of these 17 things that you claim you're receiving for much longer. Of that, I'm absolutely certain. I'm ready for any challenges with him by my side. She concludes, yeah, this is very much a fairy tale situation, and it really doesn't lend itself very much to caution. The things that she's talking about are just, sunshines, rainbows, butterflies in the sky, like just a perfect, happy civilization, society, existence. A utopia, that's what she's describing. An emotional utopia where she gets nothing but attention and praise, even for being foolish. She wants attention and praise even for being foolish, because when she's being foolish, it's supposed to be endearing. And this is great when you're a young bride in your 20s, before your face gets all wrinkled and you need all that Botox. And even after the Botox doesn't really work that well, that Botox is a problem. Like, we can all see right through it. But the problem is that all these little quirks, when you're young and giggly and bubbly, they work. When you get older, you just look ridiculous. It's like a guy in his 50s who's still wearing baggy jeans. Right? The gray hair, the gray beard, it betrays you, man. It betrays you. You can't have gray hair in your dreadlocks, man. I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe you can. Let's continue. Ellen's parting words are, trust me. No, I don't trust you. She says, trust me, I understand how hard and painful dating is. I don't trust her. Men and women everywhere complain about the dating pool and wonder where all the good ones have gone. You know, all the good ones, what they say are all the good ones, tried and failed. That's what really happened. Like a guy came in, tried it, tried the right way, tried the flowers, tried and that technique failed. And men have switched to a completely different technique. One where the consequences aren't disastrous, right? One where we have a house, we have a car, we've commingled our finances, and now you've had an affair on me. And I have to leave you. Like once somebody has an affair or cheats or deceives, you have to leave that person. And the problem is just the point, just the idea of leaving your lease that you've signed. Like you gotta pay them something to leave that lease. And then you probably lose your deposit. And then you have to pay another deposit and the first month's rent and the new agent fees in the new place. So it's like you're losing on this side financially, and then you go and lose on the other side financially, and then you still have to continue to pay the bills that you do. And what happens is the consequences of just a breakup, I'm not talking about a divorce, what you put in and what you get in the end are so like you put in millions and you come out with nothing. You cannot ask a man to then try that again. Now, for a woman, they can keep trying because, you got divorced and ended up with a house. Surely you're going to want to get married again. But for the man who lost a house, you'd be a fool to try again, man. For a guy who had to end his lease and pay that cancellation fee, I don't know what that is, and then start again, it takes you months to recover financially. Not only is it the inconvenience of having to break up with a person in the middle of the month, like you couldn't let me catch you at the end of the month when I've got money. Now we're stuck together. It's a terrible situation. This is why you should never move in with someone. This is why you should never absolutely move in with someone, right? So when they ask where are all the good ones gone, it's so frustrating because people call these men villains, right? And it's really, I don't see it in terms of you becoming a villain. I think you tried one technique and you honestly assessed it and thought it would be successful. And when that technique fails, and the disastrous way that it does fail, doesn't lend itself to say, hey, let me try this again. Like if you jump into the water and get bitten by a shark, and then you jump into the water again and a shark bites off a limb, you're not going to jump in there again for the third time, right? And for the counterpart, all they do is just move out of a house and go find another man. She's just going to leave here and go find a different man, right? And move in and live under that man. But you got to go find a new house, right? Or you got to try kick her out of this house, and she's not leaving this house. She'd rather sit there and fight all day than go and be homeless. And you know this is true. This is why they hate being kicked out of the house, because they have nowhere to go. So you have to leave, and you have nowhere to go. But you can't stay with her. She's with another man. You can't stay with her. She's with another man. So what do? What do you do? When you learn that lesson, that economic lesson, and you realize that, you pay to get in, you pay to play, and you pay the most to leave. And then you have to start again. It doesn't make any economic sense. And I don't care how much you love that person or care for them. When those economics hit and they start biting, you feel that. You feel that in a real way, right? She continues, they can list more reasons to be single than to be coupled up, so can I, and I don't blame them. But what I want but I want you to know that good relationships do exist and a good partner can add plenty of value to your life if you want one. Maybe this is true for the counterpart, that this is absolutely not true for bachelors. Just remember, she's only going to pay 16% of her way. And if she has to pay more, she's going to be frustrated. She won't be able to do it. So, for her, there's a benefit. But for you, I'm going to tell you there really isn't one. It's just a question of what type of losses are you willing to incur. So when you meet new people, protect yourself. That's capital. I didn't edit that part. That was left there from the original article. Protect yourself, but have some faith. That's a contradiction. Are you going to protect yourself, but you don't trust them, but you're going to have faith and open yourself up to them? That's a contradiction. Manifest the life you want through positivity and gratitude. Trust me. Again, she says, trust me. I don't trust her. It'll pay off. It won't pay off. It's absolutely not going to pay off. This was a delightful article by Ellen Yoon. To me, in my mind, this is just another indication of all the things that you're not going to get in a relationship. There's a reason why women make these lists. It's a list of all the things that they want and dream for, which is an indication of all the things that they are not getting in relationships. And you're never going to get these things. Let's just be honest, right? Let's just be honest. Because you're asking for things that people, quite frankly, aren't able to sustain. And even if they can do those things, you won't be able to sustain that. Being your cheerleader while you say unusually silly things throughout the day. I mean, how many times am I going to cheerlead you folding towels? How many times am I going to be grateful to you? Oh, you made the best cup of tea in the whole wide world again. Absolutely not. This is why women get fed up with doing housework, because they want to be praised every single day for the rest of their life for doing mediocrity. And that's fine. I mean, if you're only capable of doing mediocrity, you should absolutely be praised for it. But it really does get tiring having to do it every day. And if you're going to be in these romance wars in this relationship, just know that that's what you're expected to do on a daily basis. You're going to be expected to just give praise and compliments nonstop every day. This is tiring. This is tiring, especially if the person isn't actually doing anything remarkable, right? I mean, these people aren't winning battles and wars. They're not running corporations. And when they do, those corporations fall apart. And all over the internet, you see them, but they're not really selling any products. They're selling themselves. What else are they going to do? And they have to do it when they're young, because, when you're 50, when you're 40s and 50, you actually have to get a real job. You can't pay for play forever. So, this is not to imply that every counterpart does play for play, but every pay for play provider is a counterpart. So, consider that in your deliberations and your calculations. But before I sign off, let me just remind you of our philosophy and the aim of all of this. Get a vasectomy. All these videos are there to do one thing. These articles, I mean, it's content, it's useful. I do enjoy reading them. I was going to read them anyway and mock them anyway. I might as well do them for even a small audience. But if there's even one person who's going to watch this video, and there's one thing that you take away from this, is that you need to get a vasectomy and you need to protect yourself in a serious way. No one is going to tell you this message. You can scour the entire internet. You're not going to find one person telling you to get a vasectomy. They'll tell you why they got a vasectomy. They'll tell you what a vasectomy is and what you can expect, but they won't give you the encouragement that you need to make that leap, to say, is this a confident, right decision? Is this an intelligent decision? Is this a strategically sound decision? Will this actually improve me in the way that I want? Is this going to give me that tangible change, that mental change, that physical change that I'm looking for? And I'm here to tell you yes. And if you're wondering, is it financially worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. I would put the value of a vasectomy at almost $1 million, at least $500,000. You get a vasectomy, it protects you from having kids. You raise a kid from 0 to 17, that's $500,000. The other $500,000 comes in when they're in college. Now that is gonna break you, right? And the remaining $500,000 is the house, the car, the clothes, and everything else. So those three are like 500,000, 500,000, 500,000. That'll bring you up to 1.5 million. So I guarantee you that you get this vasectomy for 1,600. You freeze your sperm and you get your vasectomy 1,600. This is our new number, 1,600. You get that 1,600 vasectomy and you freeze your sperm, and I guarantee you peace of mind. I guarantee you peace of mind and $1 million. Because if you're not raising kids, all the money that you were going to spend on kids, you save that, you'll be a millionaire in no time. You'll be a millionaire, cash millionaire, a genuine cash millionaire. You'll have $1 million in cash after taxes in your bank account. You will be one of the richest people in the world. And that first step comes in getting that vasectomy. Do it. It is right. It is good. It is strategic. It's powerful. And no one is going to come up with an argument against it. And if they do, we can shred that argument. It is legal. It is sound. And if you are 18 and above, you can absolutely freeze your sperm. It'll be the healthiest sperm you're ever going to have, by the way. You freeze that sperm, you can freeze it almost indefinitely, and you get your vasectomy. If you can drive a car, own a firearm, join the police, join the military, if you can vote for the president of your country and drink alcohol legally, you can get a vasectomy. You can absolutely get a vasectomy. If you can do all that, you can absolutely get a vasectomy. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So get it, protect yourself, and do the right thing. This is the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, and I thank you again for your time, for your attention, and the opportunity to regale you with this information. I appreciate it, and I always will. Have a good day.